closer as I age. I don't, for whatever reason.
Well, we are actually live, and there's actually already people on, which is wonderful, and amazing. Oh, we already have my friend Mel saying hello. So Andy and I actually talking real quick. I was telling Andy that I love many things about him, but one of the things is his relationship with his family. And he was just saying, how the older he gets, the more important it is, which usually it's the opposite. Like I always think of the Cats in the Cradle song, where the kid's like just too busy, and even though his dad was too busy, and you seem to make time for your family all the time. So I know that has nothing to do with business, but at the end of the day, that's probably why, there's just so many qualities about your product and your product line and the person that you are that I found endearing from the moment that I met you at Paleo FX, which seems like yesterday, but it was April. We've actually known each other for several months now.
I know. That's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's a correct read. I mean, my family is everything to me. My sisters, my brother, my dad, my mom, aunts, uncles. It's just I'm here by myself. I have friends here in LA, but it's just I never. Every time I come home, I to LA, I end up missing it more and more than before. I mean, it's just growing, and so I'm like, if I can work remote and have an online business, like I can just work from a laptop. Why don't I just move up there? And I'm really considering it right now. And a lot this week because I was just there last Tuesday, and my mom is my little angel for sure. And no, that's a correct observation. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
I'm actually in New Jersey, which is not where I'm from, but I'm from Philadelphia. I'm pretty close to home right now. And my parents always had a beach house in New Jersey, and so did I. So my parents are gone, but I'm back where, where the boss lady was really formed because, I am from Philadelphia. I am Italian, and I was born under the sign of Taurus. So I came out of the womb a little bossy. And, most of the viewers that are listening that follow me certainly know my story, but I really wanted to share and tell people just a little bit about how we met. We met at Paleo FX, actually. I had the Bam out, and then you had all your products there, which definitely caught my attention because whatever you were selling, I thought, I wasn't really sure of what was going on. I was just impressed that there were men and women at that booth. It was definitely attracting everyone. And then my friends were going to your booth and coming over with stockpiles of things like, you have to go check it out. And as luck would have it, people talked about both of us to each other, and then we had the opportunity to meet. And you happened to mention to me that you read my website, and that you were just so impressed with what I had done. So out of respect, I went home that night to my Airbnb and read your website, and I thought, what an idiot I am, because your story's like so amazing. And I would just like for you to maybe share how sort of the part about your life where you got to a place where you decided that you were going to start an amazing skincare line. And it's not just that, you have an incredible attention to detail and sourcing. And I know, like, your perfume, I call it a perfume, but it's really, I don't want to say that because it's not fake scents, it's all natural stuff, to me is the most incredible product ever. Anytime I hug someone or go near someone, there are two things that happen. People ask me about my skin, and people ask me about my smell, and it's all thanks to you. And if I'm not mistaken, even your team has said that, like, that recipe or that mixture, you kept being like, no, that's not right.
It took forever. That was without question the most difficult thing. That was very difficult, getting the scent down to a T. I actually signed off on the production sample twice and went back. I mean, that's just, so when you sign off on a production sample, that's it, that's final. And that's after 27 6-piece revisions in each little bag they would give you. So they're all down to the decimal, a little bit different than the other one. And sometimes they would try to trick me, my chemist, because like they wouldn't tell me what the decimals were, like if there was a little bit more cardamom or a little bit more vanilla or sandalwood. just, you know, the leather essence, little things like tobacco. They wouldn't tell me because I kept going back and forth. After I think it was 3 revisions, they start charging, but I'm not going to release anything unless I'm just like, I had this vision for this exact aroma that I needed. I'm not going to, you know, sign off on it unless it's perfect. We were close, and I kept saying that, but it's tough to convey what you want through emails or writing it down. It's a feel thing that I can't really explain. But and so with that one, even signing off on it and then walking around and then finally getting the batch made before it was going to go into the actual container where they put it in before production. And I was like, man, it sucks because there's a lot of back and forth leading up to that point. And it was just it was a little too sweet. And that happened twice. And then finally on the 3rd time we got it. But that's what there are. Yeah. I mean, it equals probably close to over 100 different little down to the decimal point fragrant oil formula samples, down to like adding little essences from Palo Santo, sandalwood, clary sage, cardamom, just my little, just little things that I wanted to experiment with. And I wanted this unisex smell. My first fragrance that I ever bought, I wanted to be like my dad, having all these, just like a, bathroom cabinet full of fragrances in Acqua di Gio, Calvin Klein Eternity, Obsession, PK1, Dracar Noir, Cool Water, Curve, you name it. And I just wanted, every day I'd like throw a different one on, and just kind of, it was something fragrances are very important to me. Just ever since I was a little kid, but CK1 was my first one. That's a unisex fragrance, and this is beautiful.
Yeah, I was a CK1er. I was on the CK1 team.
It's still to this day, it's awesome. But we were able to make something with organic ingredients, and I mean, just a nice fragrant blend, organic alcohol, and then even down to the point where you get the fragrance that you want, but then do you go grain alcohol? Do you go corn? Do you go grape? Sugar cane? Even sugar cane is they all have a different aroma to them, and it affects the fragrant blend as well. So it just took so long. And then the bottle, it's a custom bottle that took 13 months to make. And then the box, you get one chance to make a first impression. I have to, anyway, long story short, I'm definitely, some would say, my employees definitely would say obsessed with this stuff, but it's okay. It's my little,
it's a quality
product. Thank you. It's not going anywhere. Even with food, it's just, I know what I want, and I just like, if it's missing something, why leave it out? I'm not going to rush anything. You get one chance. So, yeah.
So can you share with all of our friends, sort of your journey, because it's an interesting journey. And I think that, I have to say, I really am grateful that I've had the opportunity to meet you, because you had, a situation happen where you quite easily could no longer have been here.
Yeah, it's giving goosebumps because something happened recently about that. March 20th, 2011, I was crossing the street and got hit by a westbound heading Land Rover, lost consciousness, hit into the eastbound lane, and run over by a Toyota Tundra. At that point, I was out of it, and I was getting my clothes cut off me in the middle of Melrose down here, and woke up in a Cedars-Sinai ICU bed with a compound fracture that, with my chin poking through the bottom of my mouth, 7 broken ribs on the left side of my body, a collapsed lung, catheter in. 2 friends of mine were in there. I was on a morphine drip, heavily medicated. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. I was talking. My friends were like, no, don't talk, because the particles in my jaw, obviously the whole point is to put those back together with what ended up being 2 titanium plates, one up top, one on the bottom. I got those removed, by the way, which was, I got them removed when I was able to, because it was so stiff. It was causing so much just really tightness as the bone grows back, and as my jaw starts to move forward and get set into place. It was just really uncomfortable. But that's kind of like my mantra without the whole thing, is just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And just, there was there's a definite perspective that sets in. And before the accident, I had that. Absolutely. I was grateful. You know, I definitely had perspective. I'd say the same thing every night that I said even before the accident, say it to this day. And just, you know, just for health and happiness to my family and friends, and just, you know, thanking the universe for just being here. But then after the accident, that definitely accelerated. And so I never really, I was kind of excited because people don't survive accidents like that. And
not like that.
What's that?
Not like that.
No, it's, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I had, you know, mobility in my elbows, my ankle, my knees. I didn't tear anything, luckily. I mean, I had, you know, my teeth were nubs, my jaw was wired shut. I had a great surgeon who was able to put me back together, bless his heart, and I had great care at Cedars-Sinai. So, you know, I walked out of there, I think it was like 5 days later, and we had to hire a private maxillofacial surgeon because the resident maxillofacial specialist at Cedars-Sinai said he couldn't do it. He was actually the assistant to the private, Joseph Bergerdi is his name, private surgeon who ended up doing my surgery, because it was the worst compound fracture he'd seen. And I don't blame him. I still can't feel the side of my face. Like it's still really, well, not the whole side, but like right around here and there's part of my lip. You can squeeze that as hard as you want. And it'll draw blood before I feel it.
Wow. So, and just to let people know, I mean, you sort of made a living based on, you were a model and television. And so to have that happen, I just did a Facebook Live about this yesterday. You know, when stuff happens that sort of affects, you know, sort of takes away, threatens your ability to work or to live life as you have. So you went from that. Now, how do you end up where you are now with Alitura Naturals? Like, how did this happen? And you played baseball. You're a baseball. I still see you leaving.
Yeah, no, baseball was my life for 22 years. I still love it. I mean, I feel so the most comfortable with a bat or ball in my hands.
Wow.
I mean, like there's a sense of anxiety that's just released. I mean, you know, it's just I've been an athlete my whole life. But yeah, after the accident, it was like known that I wasn't going to ever be back in the entertainment industry, and I kind of took that as a little challenge just to get back and back into it. But there was a little bit of panic, but there's also just an extreme gratitude for being alive. And I knew things were going to be okay because the jaw is going to grow back. My ribs, believe me, the ribs, that was excruciating. Never yet to sneeze with 7 broken ribs. And I was doing like these breathing exercises with this machine. I know I have it around. I kept so many things. I kept a little nutrition shakes from the hospital and just little things to remind me. My sister's little notes outside the hospital room telling my friends that I was like napping or whatever, just, you know, as a reminder. But yeah, I mean, I just set it as a goal of mine to get back in better shape than I was before. I didn't really say that out loud because it was such a far goal, but I feel like I did. But during that process it was grueling. I didn't, you know, with your jaw being wired shut, you can't really talk to people, and these teeth, once you start talking, there's none. And it was just really, it was really, you know, a very humbling experience for sure. Wherever you go, people like look at you, and then immediately down to the left side of your face, I had significant swelling. And so I was like, all right, I mean, within a couple of days, I didn't really want to leave the house, right? So I just became very passionate about ingredients. I felt that like I was using an existing clay mask that I created before the accident, just 3 ingredients. It was Rosol clay, bentonite clay, and kelp powder. I think ascorbic acid was added after the accident. But so I was like, all right, well, I need to bring a lot of blood flow and circulation to the surface of the skin. And in doing that, I had a lot of abrasions, a lot of scarring, significant, just really banged up from head to toe. But I felt like I was going to heal that and accelerate that healing by bringing circulation and then feeding that freshly exfoliated area with really rich, nutrient-dense ingredients. And clays are so rich in minerals that are vital for collagen synthesis, and they also have an ability of removing impurities. So I was going through, not only was I taking antibiotics every day, but CT scan, X-rays every month to see how the bone was growing back. And I was just in a fog. You know, antibiotics will put you, as you know, very well know, in a zombie type state. And I kind of lost my zest there for a little bit, which is, man, it's hard. And so that I started studying spot treatments. A friend of mine in my hospital bed came in and dropped a jar of Manuka honey. And he's like, put that on your scar. And then another friend came in and dropped a jar of colostrum. And so I'm like, all right. So I added the colostrum and then a couple little things that I started researching, like ascorbic acid, organic kelp powder, American ginseng, pearl powder. I mean, this happened over time. And then I added the colostrum to that, and just kind of creating this nutrient-dense meal for my skin to feed it and nourish it, and then hopefully help heal it. But all I wanted was some type of result, to feel or see some type of result. And then I would follow that with the Manuka honey. And then I started studying essential oils, extracts. It became my own little creative outlet. I moved everything out of my bedroom into my living room and just started going to work in my little lab. But the best feeling though was I agree with Sally Lloyd right there. Broken ribs, sneezing with broken ribs was worse than because you feel a sneeze coming on, and then you're like oh no, because you can't avoid it. And but yeah, so I started my first night cream, I have it right here.
It's amazing to me what comes out of things like what happened to you, what's happened to me. I mean, you would have thought that would produce Alitura Naturals, this accident that happened in your life, this tragedy.
I mean, who knows it better than you?
I know, like I still pinch myself every day that I drive all over America touring. Like
it rocked me right into my purpose, period. And so get this is the original. You see that?
Yeah. Wow.
What, 7 years ago? And see how chunky it is? There's little cacao butter in there. It's orange because of the sea buckthorn oil, and it's all. It's what I got to show you.
I love because you can feel your passion, and that's what this is. I live my passion and purpose. You live your passion and purpose.
Oh yeah.
I always tell everyone when I introduce your products to them that it's like the line with guts. Like it's got everything that you want to nourish your skin, and there's nothing wimpy about any of it.
It's got to be everything from the packaging, and that's what it turned out to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's from a cast iron pan, and then obviously the clay mask too. So it's just, as you know, it's. I wouldn't change a thing. I have something now that can, like you, impacting, and just like that. That's what warms. That's what gives you the warmth and the goosebumps. I'm speaking for you, speaking for myself, but like it just gives you something that can lift you up all day. And it's that helping, that assisting someone to feel better about themselves that I really, it's just that's what drives me for sure.
Well, and I love a big part of your message is you really share, what you put in your body as well. Not only what you put on your body, but and your movement, and how how you mentioned being uncomfortable. On my personal Facebook page, it states that that's where the magic is for me. Like I make sure I'm uncomfortable every single day, because for me that's where things sort of open up. But you didn't know anything about producing these types of products, and I see you even now in your own kitchen when you're whipping up your smoothies or making things. You're like, well, I'm just going to make this up. I'm going to throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I think it's just really amazing, because that is true biohacking, in every sense of the word. You certainly don't look rods in your face.
What's that?
You certainly don't look like you had steel rods in your face. Like, it's really unbelievable when you see the pictures of you in the hospital bed and now.
Yeah, that's the before is something that's really hard for a lot of my family to look at. I'm so glad a friend of mine got that, because it's kind of hard to believe. But what's interesting is people they see how I am right now, and they're like, oh, well, you're fine now. I'm like, they have no idea. My teeth are still clanging into each other. I have to go into my dentist every now and then and get my bite shaved in, because my jaw, as it moves forward, it's going to be uneven. it's that whole being comfortable with, hey, it's not going to be perfect. It'll probably never be perfect. I don't look the same. I don't feel the same. It's fine. I'm here though, and I'm alive, and I have something. I don't even think about it anymore. It was dark there for a little bit. It was a dark time, and that's just a natural,
right.
Emotional response to trauma. But I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, it led me right into, when you research things purely out of necessity, beautiful things can come from it. And I just wanted to heal myself. And during it was kind of cool because friends of mine who saw me in the hospital bed were blown away with because the abrasions were gone pretty quickly because of that. I mean, just Manuka honey has amazing capability of just healing, nourishing, also hydrating that area. It's just active, it's live, it's a beautiful flower out in New Zealand that just produces an amazing, rich, like amber color. It tastes very good, but it's more. I mean, internally, externally, it's just extremely healing. They're finding out more and more and more about just how the capabilities of how just what it can do. So I just, it was during the sourcing part, during the I guess beta testing, but it took 2 years before I ever started going forward with thinking I had something and maybe I could charge for this. But I just driving around LA with a backpack, handshaking a container that I got from Whole Foods, clear plastic container, just going over to different friends and friends of friends' houses that I didn't even know, and just kind of mixing up this mask in a little bamboo bowl and just taking off to work. So I had to work at night. And all I wanted was just some type of feedback or a picture. And then I started sharing on social media as my little thing, like this clay mask, no name, no website, nothing, but people loved it. But it smelled a little bit because of the kelp powder. Yeah. So I had to cut down on the kelp powder a little bit, and that's okay. I did it. And so I went back, added a little lavender oil because that combined with the apple cider vinegar and kelp can create an earthy scent to it for sure. But I was just doing it for performance and the effects and how, to help my skin heal. And it turned into being just a really, really effective beauty treatment as well, with all that circulation brought to the surface and kind of releasing that congestion around the eye area, reducing a lot of that puffiness around the eye area. So people just began craving it. And so I thought it was so cool. It's like painting or making a meal for someone. You just like, all right, well, you do it for the love, and it just like, and then through all those posts on Facebook, a friend of mine, Mary Halls, she wanted to try it out. She owns a med spa in San Diego. I went down there, mixed up a mask for her. She loved it, brought it on her list of treatments at a med spa. And I can't tell you how fun that was for me. So then I knew I had something, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. I think it's just really amazing how, somehow you were able to think, well, I have to nourish my face with like foods and Mother Nature,
right?
And you never get that from. I mean, I don't know if your doctor has ever, in all my years with MS, Epstein-Barr, Hashimoto's, potentially Lyme disease, I had all kinds of gut issues, and no one ever mentioned food to me. So that was not my natural way of thinking. Like, I was not in the camp that when I ever had anything wrong with me, that I would be like, oh. So how do you get to a place where you think of that? Was it someone giving you, Lonnie, that sort of the light bulb went off? Like, maybe I need to nourish my skin with, like, is that just how you were raised? Like, where do you get to that place?
Well, I was really into ingredients, food, skincare, shampoo, hair care, you name it, before the accident.
Okay.
I had bad skin, okay. 19, growing into college, eating dorm food, and just my face was a mess. I had a little bit of acne, but it wasn't that bad. But I would have like these big sores, the ones that would just stick out and be there for a week, like cystic basically. And so I'm like, God, what is it? Turns out I was eating too much, processed food, sugar, wheat, using the wrong supplements, things like that, and definitely using the wrong skincare products. And so that's where you go from the stage of like Noxema, Clearasil, to Dove. Dove wasn't that bad. It's, Dove, I think had like 5 or 6 ingredients. And so, Noxema, Clearasil, Neutrogena, nightmares. I hope I don't want to, but it's completely different. And so, but going from that, and then it grew every year I became interested in it. And then I was in the outfield playing baseball, and then I'd come back with the whole like baseball tan. One face is white because you're wearing a hat all day, and then the other part is red. But on top of that, it was like I was starting to see little crow's feet, sit in. So I'm like, oh man, all right. Well, how do I do that? So I would go into, the sections and the beauty sections, and that's when I started applying night cream for the first time and applying like sunscreen and things like that. And I just became really interested in it. It was staring me in the face: health, wellness, nutrition, skincare, my entire life. Looking back, I probably should have majored in like kinesiology or at least minored in nutrition or something, because I was writing up diet plans for teammates, and I'm like, oh, cool, this guy wants. It was just it was fun for me. It was a big compliment that people wanted me to write stuff out, because I was doing little quirky things like not eating sandwiches, going tuna salad and spinach rather than pizza and burgers. So. But it's been staring me in the face my entire life. I took this accident to go, boom, here you go. Take it from here.
It's funny when I've always been sort of a jumper, and my daughter has been, she's an only child, and she's always been sort of the conservative voice. And when the idea to do my tour came to me, I was on the yoga mat, and when I called her to tell her I wanted to do this, normally she's like, Mom, you're not doing that. You're not going to go live with strangers and drive all over America. You can barely drive. Like, no, is what I thought she would say. And it was really interesting, because when I called her to tell her I had this great idea on the yoga mat, I want to sell all my possessions, make myself homeless, live with strangers, and help them for free, she was quiet for a little while, and she said, you know what? Your whole life has prepared you for this. Sort of like what you're talking about. Like, you are where you've always been interested in this, and life just brought you to a place where now it's really what you do. I think that's kind of magical when you're living your passion, when you're living what you've always been interested in. And, I've always been a community builder, and I've always been someone, I built international companies, so I'm used to living on the road. I'm used to traveling myself.
You did 10 companies? I remember, was it like 8 or 10?
Yeah, well, it's actually 12, but not 2 are old. So yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot. And, I only like to count the ones I got money for, but, and then, it's just, where I am now is what my whole life prior to this has prepared me to be. And I just feel like I was open to the universe sort of saying, like, this is where you belong, and I've never felt more alive. Now, the thing that you also mentioned that I found that I think is probably the most important thing is, you said even before you got in the accident, you basically had joy and gratitude for life.
Wow.
That's probably why you healed, and that's probably why you are where you are. And because that is one of the things that in my work that I find most people are missing is joy and gratitude for life. They're more living an autopilot existence. So it's a routine and based on societal and cultural norms. I mean, I know, I'm 55, but the product is called Alitura Naturals, and it's a whole product line, someone's asking, which we're going to talk about, because I have 2 questions about 2 of your products that I've never used that I want to talk to you about. But life sort of, it's the space for us to be. And I think that when you have joy in your life, it opens those opportunities. They might be out there, those thoughts might be out there, but when you're just living day-to-day autopilot, you almost can't see them, because you almost have blinders on, because, Tuesday, this is what I do. On Wednesday, I do that. On Thursday, I do that. Whereas when you wake up with joy, that's possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't need much. I mean, I remember when I was a bar back, barely getting by. I would save up my cash in a little cooler and then pay my rent for the month and go, oh man, all right, here we go. Even if I made some nights $30 and I was making $8.25 an hour before taxes, my checks were nothing, making no tips. I was a bar back. But I'd take that money and go to the farmer's market and get dates and get beet greens. And they were selling beets, but sometimes they'd chop off the greens. And I'm like, hey, you guys, they would throw them away. But I'm like, hey, come on, I know you guys are tossing those greens. And so they were free. And then avocados, I'd take that money and throw it right back into me. That's what brought me joy. The dates, I'd freeze them, and they taste like little caramels. I saw your post recently. They do like a good date.
It does, right?
Like it's unbelievable. And like just making my little smoothies, saving up money, getting protein powder from those Perfect Foods, Nutrition Yields, Perfect Foods bar. They used to have like, protein powder. And every time I call them, I'd just be like, hey, just trying to get a discount. It was so expensive. I couldn't afford it. But I'm like, it was the best tasting protein powder I've had at the time. I just make these shakes that gave me happiness. And I'd work out the things that I could control. I'd do, go on my little runs, and that produces endorphins. I wasn't by any token like, stable financially, but upstairs I was good. I was down in LA. I had a place, I had an apartment. I was booking little jobs, commercials here and there. And like that money, don't get me wrong, with $1,000 here and there. But then again, if you book a national, it can be pretty lucrative. But I was fine though. I never was really worried because I believed something was going to happen. But I had my body, I had my, I had like my health, my everything. I had a good set of friends and family. What more did I need? I mean, there's really not much more to me, even to now. I mean, there's a ton of, I've never stressed so much in my entire life, but it's okay. I check myself, I meditate, and it's a big responsibility that I welcome. I know what I signed up for, but yeah.
I've been in that journey.
Yeah.
You have an amazing product line.
Thank you.
And the thing that really I don't know much about is your little roller.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about why we would roll our face? Because you roll.
Yeah.
Is derma roll, is that what you call it?
Yeah, it's this little, let's see.
Yeah.
Feels little, they're little titanium needles. So they're micro needles. So micro needling is becoming like this cutting edge treatment from estheticians, med spas all around the country. And it's just, I use titanium in ours, but it's just the worst is that some I don't know the company, but there's like they use plastic. Why would you? It's like completely.
Yeah.
So just if anybody out there, just do not use steel, titanium. Do not use plastic. That's counterproductive. Yeah. Melanie knows. It's just so what it does.
Obsessed with the roller.
What's that?
He's obsessed with the roller.
It works. So here's what it does. It's the whole idea of opening up the dermal layer of your skin, right? And so a lot of anti-aging experts think that what you put on your skin, it's not going to penetrate the layers. And I don't agree with that either. But this is something that is undeniable as far as you get past. So we have a 0.25, 0.5, and a 1.00 millimeter length needle. And so you roll it lightly. You can control the pressure with your wrists all over target areas, neck, décolleté. I even use the ones that I'm done with on the scalp. So with the whole idea of just creating an opening to the scalp to feed it and nourish it with really dense ingredient. I actually throw the clay mask in mine just because you're creating that circulation to the surface, hopefully producing the healthiest hair follicle, and then also with the silica content of the mask, which is what the follicle is made of. It just makes sense to me. But really, just pulling that close to the brain and creating that blood flow and circulation. It's optimized. That absorption is optimized with the derma roller, and it feels so good. It's a little like kind of like an acupuncture effect to it.
That's what it looks like to me. So can I ask you a question? How often would you do that? Like, do you do that once a week or every day? Like, what do you recommend?
Sunday.
Once a day.
Did it today.
Sunday and Wednesday. There you go.
There you go. Take a couple days off in between. Allow for that collagen synthesis and cell turnover. And man, it's just I'd recommend if you haven't done it ever, just do it at night and then make sure whether it's a mask or a moisturizer, whatever you want to put on afterwards, you're going to really just allow for that absorption just to get past that initial layer and really get the most out of the products that you're using. So it's that's my go-to treatment. I don't need anything else as of right now. That's the most effective. And I've tried everything. I've tried PRP, laser. That's it. This is with everything taken into account. Downtime, toxicity that potentially maybe there. It's derma roller for me. Derma roller mask, gold serum for sure. But I mean, just getting a really rich, clean product to put on after the derma roller. After you roll your face, you're just you're oxygenating that surface. You're opening it up and just really allowing for it to release. I mean, especially after a long flight or something like that. Say if you have like a little bit of jet lag, it just opens it up. You release congestion. It actually adds a little brightness to that area too. It's insanely effective.
So let me ask you a question. Now, this might be a weird question, but I know that when I get like body work or do any sort of fascia work or anything like that, I have to hydrate a ton because it can release toxins. Does that release toxins when you're doing that?
There's a little lymphatic drainage that I feel, right? A little lymphatic drainage. And then as far as toxin release, I would assume so if you follow with like because you're opening up that layer, and then say the bentonite gets back. Bentonite has been used in military protocols as a detox remedy for heavy metals and toxins.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And just, they say like elephants would roll around in the mud and then lay out in the sun in a detox protocol. So I really feel like you're pulling out, a lot of impurities. If it just depends on what you're using after the derma roller, but I feel like it's a release. I mean, it's just in my opinion. I don't. It's more theory right now. I'm sure there's scientific evidence to back that up. I know how I feel before and after. It just releases so much congestion, puffiness, and just an added benefit is just what it does for the skin.
And probably to me, what is another amazing thing about your line is that it's men and women. It's not just a woman's skincare line, and it's not just because you're a man behind the line. You know how many men at Paleo FX were introducing it to their women, which I was like, this is amazing, because I had several friends, my friend Claire and her husband, like so many of my friends, Leslie, were like, yeah, my husband uses this and he's telling me about it. So I kind of love that, because I feel like the unisex that you wanted with your perfume, it's the same thing with your whole line. It is for everyone. It's
the coolest thing ever to me to see that. I mean, I feel like, in the beginning stages when we were going through color scheme for the packaging, for the branding, I had so much. I mean, you should see it. It was right down the middle, like 51-49 as far as what I should do, with like the plain white and then the turquoise and then the safe red and making it neutral. And I'm like, I wanted this badass Hugo Boss, Kenneth Cole, Montage, Equinox, whatever. I mean, just like ultra premium, sleek feel to it. Like that's,
yeah, it is.
I can't get enough of it. I mean, but I'm so glad I went with that. I mean, granted, a lot of people, sure, it looks masculine, but we get a lot of really good feedback on just from people saying they dig the packaging. We're in discussions right now as far as like maybe branching out and doing other things because it does make sense with maybe switching it up. Like if you see our gold serum, it's a different, we have a nice like gold label, and I'm opening to doing something that looks great in my eyes. But I'm so glad I didn't go like the safe Target, Walmart, like white turquoise route, because I just had this vision that I followed through on. So it's got to be something that I love. But I'm open to critique and opinions for sure. I wanted to be different. When you go into store, it's all white, maybe a little woodsy and brown and earthy. I'm like, I wanted black, silver. I just knew what I wanted. I've loved those colors since I was a little kid.
Well, my whole wardrobe is that color, so I'm on your team.
Yeah, no, I see it.
I only wear black and gray, and that's it in my minimalist life. So I'm super proud because you have joined our tour, and you've been a part of the tour since this leg of, I call them legs. So I left about 3 weeks ago, and I'm on tour till the middle of December, uninterrupted. And so I've been delivering some of your moisturizer to homes, and actually one of the people said that they can't get enough of it. They're using it nonstop. I just delivered it to the home I'm at, where I'm live from right now. And as life would have it, she was going to a local farm that was mixing up a Manuka honey-based concoction, and they just closed down. She's like, I'm in the market right now. And I gave her some, and she's like, wow, that stuff's amazing. And that's just after one day. I'm like, I told you. But I started using it the minute I met you, and using it every day. And that is one thing that I hear at least every day when I'm meeting new people, within the first, wow, your skin. And I'm like, it's like a really easy routine. It just is. I use the cleanser, and literally I'm probably like not the best because I work out at the gym and I shower at the gym. So I'm like in the gym using the cleanser, putting the cream on, like I'm not doing like a real gentle. I'm like just trying to get her done. I'm sure if I spent a little more time, people would be like, you're glowing, but everyone mentions my skin and they're like, and I'm like, I just do it once a day. Like I literally cleanser, moisturize. And that, I mean, I'm not, mask like once a month. Like I'm not really going crazy. And I'm really impressed with the fact that people mention about my skin. Not only that, but about my smell. So that's what, after I tried the product, I reached back out to you and I'm like, well, I'm a fan. Anytime people come up to you, well, because I mean, anytime people constantly say things to you, like when I first shaved my hair, I was a little nervous. But you hear enough people saying, well, you have a great head for a shaved hair, then it's like, all right, I feel comfortable now. Like they're reaffirming what I'm thinking. But it is nice to, especially when you're 55 years old and you have a debilitating disease and you live in a van and don't really spend, like I don't spend any money getting anything done to my body. I don't get facials. I don't do anything but use your stuff. And the fact that I hear that more than anything really spoke very loud to me, like, wow, okay, this stuff is changing my appearance.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah, it really does. It makes you feel really good. And, it's for me to share this with other people on the tour and for them to be like, wow, that also makes me feel really good because I saw what was happening when you had a booth at Paleo FX, and I saw that it was attracting men and women and people of all ages. And then, I got the product and I try it, and it's quite an honor for me to share it with people and have so many people come back to me and say the same things that I say. And I do share with them how we met in your story because to me, again, the fact that you thought, what can I do to nourish my skin? I mean, Dr. Walls, when she invented the Walls protocol, which is the protocol, my food healing protocol that I started on, she was trying to figure out what can I eat to support my mitochondria. And she developed a list of foods to support her mitochondria. You did the same thing with your skin and your face. What foods can I put here to support and nourish my face? And, that is the kind of healing and the kind of lifestyle that is the foundation of my miracle status. That's why I use CBD, because it's a cellular level healing. Anything that's going to nourish my body that Mother Nature gives us just seems to be the answer for me.
Right. I mean, Alitura is Latin for feeding and nourishing. I mean, the ingredient decks, I mean, our body lotion, I would, it lasted about, 20 minutes in the booth where I was showing people that it's food grade and eating it, because it actually doesn't taste that bad. I mean, there's lemongrass, a little bit of vanilla in there too. It's like got this, and green coffee oil. Like it's not that bad tasting, but it actually tastes decent. But I'm like, all right, well, it became a little awkward because you're cleaning your hands off. So like, I'm just gonna spray it, or not spray, but divvy it out and let them put it on and apply. But it's got to be, basically, it's just, you have to treat your skin like another mouth, and it's so important to do that because what you put on top of your skin is going to be absorbed into your bloodstream within, I think, 24 or 36 seconds. But that's scary. Wow. If you're rubbing in natural fragrance or rubbing in a harsh preservative or rubbing in fillers or phthalates or butylene glycol. If you can't pronounce it, well, some people, I think I use in my new oil blend, there's like a resin extract that it's really hard to pronounce, but it's organic, like I promise, but it's like a little, like a woodsy pine extract. But so it's just being there. Luckily, there are really good apps. Think Dirty has an app where you can scan the UPC code and just find out, really, they have a 1 to 10 rating on cleanliness. And a friend of mine was comparing our moisturizer to another brand, and it was in the red zone. And it's just stuff that you would never think because it's so heavily marketed. They're taking out the full page spreads in the most popular magazines, and they have their own storefronts. But man, there's a reason why they could do that. It's because they're diluting their ingredient decks. And so you just have to become very aware of what you're rubbing into your skin and putting into your scalp that close to your brain. And I really feel like that's what causes hair loss and brain fog and irritation. And just, it's very important to use gifts from nature and ingredients from nature. And it's just, Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to just like you. And then just to say or answer what you said, it was a big goal of mine to be a part of your tour. I had to get involved. Seeing you over there, I'm sure your audience knows, but you had the most popular. I had to get over there. I didn't want to leave the booth, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I just have to meet you. And because I heard so much, there were so many people coming over to me going, you got to go over there. That's the rock star right there. Like, I'm like, all right, well, hi, I'm Andy. I remember our first time we met. And it was awesome. And ever since then, I'm like, I just want to be a part of it somehow and involved because we're so aligned. So.
I love having you on the tour, and it's only been about, a handful of houses, but everyone is loving what you're producing. And I'm sure this, video is going to help inform them. And it's, it's very humbling to have, you join the tour. I know that a lot of my vendors are small companies, and it's, I wouldn't be able to do this work without them. They, they help pay for gas. They help keep me on the road so that I can support everyone regardless of, what their financial situation is. And, it's just really humbling. And I work really hard to make you guys really proud of me every single day. Mel, you're too cool.
You work your ass off and you care. It's just so cool to me.
I do. And I just found out that in 2019, I'm going to be writing for Paleo magazine as well. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that because I approached them and said, I travel all over the country, and, no one knows how to navigate this life when they travel. So why don't I write a section on all the cities I go to, how to do this lifestyle, no matter where you are? And they said yes. So February will be my first time, and I'm really, of course it has to be done in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks because of deadlines, but I'm just really excited that, my work is continuing to branch out into, all different ways, and hopefully, just to continue to support everybody on their journey, because, not everyone is as crazy as you and I are, Andy, meaning that, we're just going to knock down walls and mix things up in our kitchen. And, so anything we can do to help break down the barrier to entry, to get people to think about what they're putting on their skins, what they're eating, how they're moving their body, that's how we can really create a conversation of change and stop the cycle of disease and, people using, harmful steroid-based products on their skin. And, like you said, having, reactions from gluten and things like that, and using harmful products. I'm sorry, that's my dog, Gidge. Come here, Gidge.
I think I've met her. Is it her or him?
Yeah,
definitely met whoever.
Yeah, she's at the door telling me, here's Gidge.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's my little star. I couldn't do the work without my little Gidge. But I'm definitely going to put a link on for your products on the comments when I'm done, so people can go there and really check them out. But you tell us where people can find you. Anything you want to tell us, now's the time. Sure.
So, I'm at our website is alituranaturals.com. That's ALITURANATURALS.com. I'm also out Facebook, Instagram at Alitura Naturals, at Andy Hnilo. My last name's a little different, as I'm sure the audience can see. And then we're doing a Paleo Boss discount just in case anybody wants to check it out. So it's just Paleo Boss, not case sensitive, all one word. And I really have to say, you're just it's really cool to be a part of your journey, and it's just, that's what I wanted as of April, and here we are. So it's cool.
Thank you. I'm going to be back in California middle of December for like 2 weeks, and we'll definitely have to. I know you're all the way in Glendale. I'm all the way in Orange County, so maybe we'll meet in La La Land and
let's do it.
Have a meal. We can meet at the Bulletproof Cafe, because I just saw, I was bummed that you were at the Bulletproof Labs, and I missed that. But we could certainly meet there, since we're both fans of Dave Asprey and all the work that he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% in for that.
Okay, we'll definitely do that. And I highly recommend that you all follow Andy and his company stuff on social media, because it informs me every day. He definitely is doing like healthy science with his food, and he'll do videos where he cooks stuff, and you'll see how his mind thinks. And I think it will help you to understand, how he makes his products and what thinking goes in to that, because I'm very impressed with, you know, what you put in your foods, you know, how you challenge your body, how you do all different types of movement, from hitting balls to running to, you know, you're outside a lot. You really value being outside. You know, you value vitamin D, you value sweating, you know, how you go into your saunas. I mean, I think that it would really help inform people all the different things and maybe inspire you to, you know, think outside of the box. You know, I do go to the gym a lot, but when I'm in California, I never go to the gym because I'm at the beach for sunrise yoga and grounding. And that, you know, it's just, so, you know, my workout and my wellness changes where I am and time of year and all that stuff. And, you know, I really get inspired and I learn a lot from your journey. So not only does it have a great product line, but you're really educating people with the foods you eat, how you move your body, mindfulness, and informing the community about the kind of thinking that goes into your product line, which I love.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just, you know, with the activity, the physical activity, having that stuff taken away. I mean, when you're able to like get back and do it, I don't take any of that for granted. I love being outdoors. I love pushing myself. And so, yeah, I'd love to just interact with your following as well. It's just fun.
That's awesome. Then people always say to me, don't you hate driving? I'm like, when you can't drive for years, I like cry most of the time when I'm driving because I can't even believe that I can. So no, I don't ever hate driving. I get to move my body freely. I wake up every day with joy and I go to bed with gratitude. So it's a pretty wonderful life. Well, thank you, Andy, for your time and for joining the tour and for your products and for changing the narrative. And, you know, the pleasure's mine, friend. It really is.
Not both equal. No, it's we'll do this again soon. And I'll see you is it December?
December is when I'm back. Yep, I'm not back in California until December, which is hard for me because I'm a beach girl and my daughter lives there. So maybe actually what we'll do is we'll meet at, my daughter performs at the Nice Guy a lot. And I think it's in, where is the Nice Guy?
Where is it? In Hollywood, yeah. It's like, that's right in the heart of Hollywood. Wow, she was.
Yeah, she does, so we can have dinner and listen to some sultry music and have a good time. So we'll plan on something like that over the holiday season. And until then, thank you for inspiring me. Thanks everyone for listening. And Mel and Melissa, all you guys that use the products and love it, thank you for being here to just let everyone know how important it's been in your journey, because that means a lot. You know, it's one thing for us to talk, but when you have other people saying, you know, I dig this stuff and it's changing my narrative, that really makes me feel. And these are not people, Mel is my friend, but I didn't meet her on tour. She is one of the people that helped rave to me about your stuff at Paleo FX. So she's one of the.
Very familiar. I swear I've seen her. I think at the Bulletproof Conference or something.
She's one of my faves. So, and her daughter actually was working Paleo FX. And actually, if you see some of the ads for Paleo FX, it's her daughter in the pictures. She was my 10,000 follower on Instagram. So not only is Mel my friend, but they're near and dear to my heart.
Well, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you soon. Take care, Andy. Bye.
Bye.